Rita Kamishiro, and you are now listening to the comfiest corner of the internet, RKNGL Radio, where you can kick back, relax, and enjoy the company of me, all of the amazing archangels we have here today, and our wonderful guest, Sailor!
Hello, hi.
And if you don't know who our wonderful guest is today, Mako Sameshima is the shark princess of PRISM Project's 7th generation. And of course, on her channel, you'll find all sorts of fun chatting and singing streams and a whole lot of various games like League, Dead by Daylight, and I know there's a stigma around it, but there was a lot. I'm not here to lie, Mako. I'm here to tell the truth, okay? I bring truth
so
to the light. But as you can see, Mako has such a fun and chill and silly personality, and you're gonna have so much fun getting to know her today. Plus, she just recently celebrated 3 years of streaming. Isn't that right?
That is true. I've been here for 3 years.
Help! Help me! Free me! Oh my gosh. But if you want to get to know Mako more outside of RKNGL Radio, be sure to hang out with her over on her YouTube channel and Twitter. We were just actually talking about how we're so bad at tweeting.
True.
But without further ado, I'll go ahead and hand it off to the woman of the hour herself to introduce herself.
Hello, I'm Mako Sameshima. I'm a shark VTuber from PRISM Project Generation 7. I'm super excited to be here. I look up to Rita so much.
Stop!
And
No, stop! I'm gonna cry.
My psychology bestie. Together we will save the world.
Together we will analyze the world. I feel like...
True.
We'll spend a little too much time like reading things and like listening to video essays, I feel, but that's part of the fun.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh my gosh. But if you had to kind of like, in a nutshell, describe who you are, like in a word or a phrase, what would that be?
Chat says that I'm a dork.
Oh, loving. Dork, parenthesis, lovingly. Right?
Lovingly.
Right.
That's what they tell me, at least. I think that I'm handsome and cool, but they think I'm a dork.
Why can't you be all three?
Exactly. I'm the handsome and cool
dork. I think that's everything you would want to be, right? Handsome, cool, and dorky.
I guess.
But in addition to your 3 years celebration, do you have any other exciting things going on or upcoming on your channel before we dive into the fun?
I am trying to post 1 short a week.
Whoa.
That's my goal. So,
okay.
Every Friday, I think they come out, and then, also I have something kind of slay coming out for Halloween.
Oh, slay!
So just,
okay.
Yeah, keep your eyes peeled.
Can I give a little spoiler too? I don't think I've said anything about this, so
Absolutely.
I guess this is you've encouraged the spoiler out of me. I may or may not also be doing something, in the words of the great philosopher Mako Sameshima, slay this Halloween. So do keep an eye out for that. I hope I can get everything done in time. But
two cute dorky girls releasing something for Halloween. Eyeball emoji.
Separately though, there's
Separately,
no way
yes.
I could impede on Mako's slate.
No, I would never want to step on your toes.
Oh my gosh. But be sure to subscribe to Mako's channel. Check out her stuff if you want to see what that's going to be all about. But for the next hour and a half or so, we have lots of fun stuff to talk about today. We have, we're going to start off with a little bit of fun, lighthearted conversation. Just talk about things that Mako really likes before we dive into, of course, some more things that Mako's really interested in. But maybe a little bit more brain power is required. So
we're using our brains.
We're gonna use our brains. We are dorks after all. But let's go ahead and start with the first thing. I always ask my guests what they're, very knowledgeable about or passionate about. And one of the things you brought up for me was arcade games. So tell me why you like arcade games.
I love I don't know. I love the atmosphere of the arcade. It just reminds me of my childhood. I love going in between the arcade games, and it's like a person with ADHD's dream. it's like there's so many
stimulation is
exactly. I love rhythm games. I love playing like Tetris and Pac-Man as well. Pinball, and then I don't know. They're all so much fun, and I love rhythm games in particular.
Are you more of like a solo arcade person, or do you go with like a group of friends?
It depends.
Okay.
Recently my friend Mufi moved in with me, so we've been going together a lot.
Okay.
But I go like solo sometimes, and I have some friends that are usually at the arcade all the time anyways.
Oh, okay.
So I'll just hang out with them. But then sometimes I like to get my friends and we all go together. So it really depends, but yeah.
You mentioned like going there and like seeing your friends there. I just thought it would be such a fun way to make new friends. Like maybe you pick a day that you go regularly, and maybe you see someone who's also there every single like Friday or something. I think that'd be such a fun way to like make a new arcade buddy.
That is literally what happens. So yeah, we ended up like becoming friends, some of the people there, because some of them worked there and some of them were regulars there, and we all just sort of like noticed that the other person was there all the time, and it just sort of became a like, yo, what's up, good to see you again sort of vibe.
Oh my gosh, and yeah, even if you maybe are the person who doesn't have like too many friends, maybe that'd be a great way to
literally
make some new ones. Well, there you go. See, Mako is speaking from experience. There you go.
Exactly.
If Mako can do it, anyone can do it. Make a bunch of new friends.
There's friends around every corner, guys.
I want to try that now. I want to make friends at an arcade.
Come over.
Oh my gosh! Wait. Okay, hold on. We'll hang out. We'll go to an arcade.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! But you mentioned that you like going to arcades because of the atmosphere, like being surrounded by a bunch of like noise and bright lights and hanging out with friends. Are you also the kind of person who likes improving their like skills? Like, do you? I already know the answer to this because we talked about this just briefly, but do you keep like a progress card? Do you want to keep a progress card? Do you try to get better like ranks, or do you just play it for the fun of it?
I've picked up a progress card before, for like the rhythm games, but I never actually ended up using it. I tried to progress my musica skills, but I capped off at level 12. it's like that's I can't seem to go past.
You like
that.
plateaued there?
So I did, yeah. It's my peak. But I think I just need to work extra hard, and one day.
Do you
one
have
day I'll...
Sure. So musica is a rhythm game, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like the one with it's got like 5 knobs.
Okay.
There's 3 at the top and 2 on the bottom. And then I think like the 3 top ones are blue and the bottom 2 are orange or like yellow, and you have to like hit them and spin them and hold them.
Oh wow, it's like a bop it then.
It's a lot of fun. Kind of, yeah.
Oh my
gosh. It's like a flat. It looks like a DJ.
Oh
thing.
Wow. Have you seen the rhythm game that is like a DJ like kit? And it's like super complex. I still haven't figured out how to use it.
Is it Sound Voltex?
Let me look.
Sound Voltex.
It's like you have like a DJ disc, and you have like a bunch of these like, oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to say DJ arcade game. But you mentioned musica. Are like rhythm games your favorite kind of like rhythm or favorite arcade games?
They are. I just like listening to the music. And then I like, I don't know. There's some like other rhythm, or not rhythm games, arcade games that I really like. I like there's a couple like driving ones. Like I like the racing ones too. But yeah, I think all-time favorite is Musica.
Oh my gosh. Okay, cool. I feel like, oh my gosh, I feel like I always tend to gravitate towards music games as well. But I feel like when you brought up racing games, when you go to like a I don't know how to call them, like a multi-center that has like bowling alleys and like other arcade games. I feel like their racing games aren't super like, I don't know. I feel like they're kind of like meh. But if you go,
they're kind of lame.
Yeah, if you go to like a dedicated arcade center and they have like a really nice, I don't remember the name of, maybe it was Gran Turismo, I don't know. But like the graphics were so good and the music was great.
Right.
And like the experience of driving was good. Do you like to drive?
I do actually. I love driving.
Me too. I feel like
I've never met anyone that doesn't like that likes driving. So you're like the first person.
Really? Yeah. No, same. Because I feel like it. You know, I can understand. You know, if thinking of driving as like a chore, like I guess that makes sense. But I don't know. I like driving. I think it's like a way of like traveling, or also like being by myself and like listening to music.
Exactly.
Like I can just let myself. Go ahead.
No, you first.
Oh no, it's just a nice way to like, let myself listen to music sometimes.
Exactly. I was gonna say, like, I think when I'm driving other people around, like especially my sister when she's around and I drive her, like we listen to music and we kind of bond over music in that way. But I found that when I'm driving by myself, I often like I don't play music. Sometimes I'll play music, but sometimes I'll just sit in silence. And it's such a good way for me to think.
True.
And like sometimes I talk to myself when I'm driving, like not to sound like crazy, but like
you're real for
more
that.
to work problems out in my head and sort of, I don't know. It's a good way for me to like sit, especially in the morning, like when I drive to school. It's just I sit in the silence and I think about my day and what I'm gonna do. And like it's just a nice way to.
This
relax,
is so random. But what is your MBTI?
I am an. I can't remember. I used to be an INFP, but now I think I'm an ENFP. Yeah. Are you also an ENFP?
No, because I can clock ENFPs so well because I am also an ENFP. I in my head, I was like, I'm going to ask Mako this. And she's going to say ENFP. And as soon as she said, I think I used to be an ENFP, I was going to say she's an ENFP. I know it. I feel like I get along well with I get along with everybody, I think. I would like to think. But I feel like... go ahead.
No, I was going to say ENFPs get along with other ENFPs.
Yes. It's kind of like a given almost. Oh my gosh, we were just talking about, like, you know, you like being around other people, but like you also, like, you talk to yourself sometimes. I'm like, oh yeah, you do that too. So I was like, oh, she's an ENFP.
I think, like, I used to be really INFP, and my personality was similar, except I was, you know, a little bit more introverted. But after COVID, that completely swapped. I was like so lonely and so like hungry for interaction. And just, you know, outside of my family, like seeing my friends again and going places and doing things, I just like became super extroverted, and I was like, I'm never gonna take advantage of this again.
Yeah, I feel like major like life events tend to do that. Like I feel like people don't, of course you kind of start to really have your solid sense of identity or your sense of self as you grow older, but I feel like people tend to forget that like major life changes or like major traumatic events tend to cause that shift in like people's mindset and how and their personality. So it was interesting that you were like, you attributed that specific thing that kind of made you more of an extrovert. Wow. Oh my gosh. So I don't know how we got to that from arcade games, but what I'm taking it away from arcade games is that we gotta go to an arcade sometime.
We do have to go to an arcade sometime.
But you mentioned also that music is your favorite kind of arcade game, and that was actually one of the topics that you brought to me as well, that you love music and you love movies. So what kind of music have you been listening to lately?
Well, I think I probably told EQ, it was so random, during her birthday stream that I've been listening a lot to a lot of like the Jackson 5. And I've been like on a throwback sort of vibe lately. I think I'm just getting a little too, like I said, I have ADHD, so
You're
it's
real.
like,
No,
it's
you're
like
so
hard
real
for
for
me
that.
to sit with one genre. So I went back and I was listening to like older music, like Nat King Cole and Jackson 5 and stuff like that. And now I'm like slowly trickling into early 2000s and then like 2010s.
Yeah.
So I've got
love
like
that.
yeah, you get it.
I totally
you
get
know.
that because my song of the summer, I feel like one of the songs that I would listen to all the time is the round, round, get around, I get around, I get around. Ooh. So I feel that.
Actually, I was raised on like the Beach Boys.
Oh, really?
And, the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. Like those were the big three in my house.
Wow.
So I love them and I've always got them on.
Oh my gosh. I like how you're like, oh, mine's kind of weird. Mine's really weird. Whenever it becomes fall time, whenever autumn rolls around, I always get into this like Renaissance festival, like medieval sort of like Celtic music sort of vibe.
You are so real for that.
But lately on TikTok, because of that, like a lot of people have been like the whole like POV, like tavern, like innkeeper POV thing has been really
I love
popular.
Those so much.
And so like people are like, do you know Stray Kids, the K-pop group?
Yes.
It'll be like POV. It's 14:30, and you were listening to the Wandering Children play their newest single, "The Lord's Menu," and they'll be playing the medieval version of God's Menu.
I'm dead. Do you listen to the Gothard Sisters by any chance?
No, I have never heard. Tell me
Highly
that.
recommend. They have a good song called "Meet Me at Dawn," and they're like they have like a very like Celtic sound to them. I really like them a lot.
Okay, I will check them out. Thank you for the recommendation.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. So, you mentioned all kinds of music. You like all kinds of music, and I think evidently, since you know so many, just off the top of your head, like I had no idea who Gothard Sisters were. Is there any other like interesting musical factoid or something about music that you feel like is less well known?
I really like breakcore music. So like I like hyperpop and breakcore. I went through a really weird phase where that was like all I listened to. So let me pull up my playlist.
Yes,
here,
please.
I had
I just recently learned about more about hyperpop actually.
Dude, it's so fun. Like it's just so fun to listen to.
Yeah.
I have a lot of like 100 Gex and Grimes on here, but
okay.
I can't find. That's my hyperpop. But my breakcore playlist is my favorite playlist that I have for when I'm trying to find it.
If I understand breakcore, it's like really fast and like busy.
Yeah. It's kind of busy. It's got a lot of like kick beats.
Okay.
So like there's some death grips on here and Crystal Castles, some Poppy, and then there's Alice Glass and all kinds of fun stuff.
Oh my gosh, do share. I also feel like music oftentimes, like subgenres of music are often tied to like subculture or like subcultures of fashion. If you had to describe breakcore associated to like a subculture or an aesthetic, what would it be for the visual?
I would say it's like very like it makes my brain glitch. It's like a glitch. That's almost how I imagine it. So I think people that like listen to that like very exclusively, I would say that it's just kind of like, I don't know,
like
think
tech,
where maybe
sort of like
kind of tech or like
cyberpunk,
like all black,
maybe. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just sort of the vibe that I get. But I think the music itself is really colorful. So
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
These are
Well,
just the
thank you for
vibes.
that. I will definitely check those out. Don't forget to send me the playlist link as well.
Oh,
I'd love to
I'll
check
send
it
it
out.
to you right now.
Oh my gosh. But you mentioned music and movies as well. Are you like a movie junkie? Like, do you know a lot of movies? Are you really knowledgeable about?
I used to actually dislike TV and movies when I was younger. And so I don't really know why. Like, I guess I wasn't really on the screen very much as a kid. So I never really understood like movie references and all those things that people would make. But now I've been going to the movies a lot more.
Yeah.
And I've been watching movies And I like comedy. I don't like romance movies
Really?
at
Why?
all.
Why?
I don't. It makes me feel really lonely.
Oh no!
It makes me like. It's like, why can't my life be like this?
Oh, that's fair. I can see that. Oh no!
Yeah, I don't know. And then like, I just
So
any
you watch
movies
sad or funny movies to laugh?
Yeah, funny
Okay.
movies. Yes, sad movies, like movies that make me feel sad. I don't understand like the pleasure in watching them, if that makes sense.
I feel like I guess maybe sometimes they're like cathartic if they're like going through something that like you're feeling, so that like
Yeah,
seeing someone process it and also feel something like like it's like, oh my gosh, they get how I feel or something. I don't know.
I think, yeah, I get that way with music too. It's like, I think that I was just always avoidant of bad feelings. So whenever I had bad feelings, like listening or watching sad stuff, listening to sad music or watching sad movies, like brought those feelings back up, and it made me feel sick to my stomach. So I just completely, like, I remember sitting in my bathtub when I was younger, like I was taking a bath and this really sad song came on, and I was like, I can't listen to sad music anymore.
Oh my gosh. That's so real though. Like music can be so easily tied to memory. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Can't watch sad movies. Can you listen to love songs?
Yeah, I like love songs. I think they're not like my top genre of music.
Okay.
But I think if the song is, I usually listen to the lyrics as sort of a poem instead of like a, I don't know how to explain it, but I think love songs, if it has like really, really nice written lyrics, it feels like really nice poetry, and that makes me feel good. But I think there's I don't know, the difference between love music and love movies, I don't know what it is.
I love that. Like I actually just recently had a collab with someone who also described music as like poetry set to a melody. I love that. Oh my gosh, do you have a favorite movie?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, why are you saying it? What's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie is Superbad, and I watch it about once a week.
Once a week?
Maybe like once every 2 weeks. I don't know. It's
so okay. Superbad. Describe for those who are not familiar.
It's not a good movie.
Oh,
I mean, it's cinematic masterpiece, but it's also like it's really stupid. It's like everything that I just told you about music and poetry and beautiful stuff, like just throw that all out, and just the dumbest like boy humor you've ever watched. That's my favorite movie.
I think there's honestly, I feel like there is its own kind of beauty in just being silly and just being stupid and just not caring and being silly. I think there's beauty in that in and of itself.
I think it captures like the brotherhood of teenage boys so well, and it makes that shit so stupid. I'm sorry, it makes it so deep. Like the whole movie is about getting alcohol for a party.
Oh, that's the whole movie.
That's the whole movie, and you know you've got McLovin, who's very famous. And you've got it's what's his name? Michael Cera and oh my gosh, his name is completely Jonah Hill, and they fight. They don't really. I don't like the whole movie. It seems like they don't really like each other because they don't see eye to eye. And at the very end of the movie, he's like, "Bro, you don't have to sleep over at my house." And he's like, "Yeah, I guess." And they go home, and he's like, they cuddle. They're both drunk. They hug each other, and they're like, "I love you, bro." Like, I just want to go scream it from the rooftops. I love you. He's like, I love you, bro. And then they go to sleep, and they wake up the next morning, and they're like, they look at each other, and the guy's like, your dad's gay. And he's like, yeah, okay. And then it's like, and they act like it never happened. And it's like the most teenage boy movie.
The epitome of right. Oh my gosh.
But yeah,
my goodness.
It's such a, I don't know. It's so fun.
Just silly, goofy.
Exactly.
Sometimes that's all you need in the world, right? Sometimes you just need a little silly goofiness. I feel like that's so you. Like I feel like I would expect your favorite movie to be something like funny and silly like that. Oh my
If we're talking like actual good movies, I really like Knives Out. I know that's like a basic take, but
Knives
that movie
Out.
is
Okay.
really good.
I'm looking at it right now. Knives Out.
Have you not seen Knives Out?
What is it about? I've
Oh my,
not
it's a
seen
murder mystery.
either.
Wait, we should watch it
I
together
love
sometime.
murder
Please,
mysteries!
can we do a watch
Yes,
along sometime?
absolutely.
Please.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
cool.
I've heard of this.
Yeah, it's
I've
really
heard of
good.
this. Okay. Put a time on my calendar and we'll watch it.
All right, man, we got it.
Yippee! Okay. Yippee! Oh my gosh. Oh, I've heard of Glass Onion.
Glass Onion was the second one. It just came out.
Okay.
It wasn't as good.
Okay.
But,
I haven't seen either, but I knew about Knives Out because of Glass Onion.
Janelle Monáe is in Glass Onion, and
Oh.
she's beautiful. And I
Oh
love
my
her.
gosh. Okay, well, I look forward to our little watch party. Oh my gosh. But wow, you seem to really do enjoy movies. And I feel like people expect like, oh, you like movies, you must know like every single movie reference known to man. I don't think that's the case. I think as long as like you enjoy watching them, you don't have to be like super knowledgeable about them or anything.
Exactly. I agree with you.
Why, thank you. Oh my gosh. But one of the last topics I wanted to talk about, kind of like our fun little all things Mako speed run, at least before we dive into our mega brain power segment, was that you were really into beauty and perfume. So I wanted to ask a little bit about, to kind of kick things off, what is beauty to you? What does that mean to you?
I think like there's just something about making myself feel beautiful every day, or at least when I have the energy to, like the mental capacity to. I just like really enjoy feeling good about myself. And when I feel good about myself, I feel like so much better about my whole day. I do better at school. I talk to people more. I like call my mom and like, tell her I miss her. Like I just feel like I'm more in the world when I feel my best.
Yeah.
So that's beauty to me.
I feel like it's kind of like I think we talked about this on Twitter, but like romanticizing your life sometimes to like get through the day, right?
Yes.
Were you the one who was like, I like how you said Rita romanticizes her life like a shoujo anime, but I romanticize it like a comedy?
Like a sitcom. Yeah.
But I totally get that.
Yeah. No, you get it. You know.
Yeah. You were about to say something. I interrupted.
Oh,
you.
I was just gonna say, like, I feel like you have to do that sometimes, or else your life would be absolutely miserable. If you take everything so seriously at face value, like sometimes you just have to, get on with your day and laugh at the stuff that happens and just be like, that's a funny way for me, to live my life.
Exactly.
But it's just like,
it's a more dressed up version of it was a canon event. You know what I mean? Like
exactly. Yes. Exactly.
Oh
like
my
you just need
gosh.
to. Sometimes life throws things at you, and you just have to accept it and work with it the best that you can.
Exactly. And what's wrong with putting a little bow on it, or a cute little outfit on it, or some makeup to make things a little bit better? So what is your beauty routine then?
Well, I start in the shower, and I wash my face. Actually, no, that's not true. First, I wash my hair, and then I put the conditioner in, and I leave it in while I wash my face and my body, and then I rinse out the conditioner. Then I have a really, really yummy smelling oil. It's so good. It just makes me feel and smell really good. It makes my skin super soft, and I use that. And then I moisturize, and then sometimes I'll put on like a little mascara or some eyebrow gel, just like a little something, and then I have like a hair oil, and then sometimes I blow dry my hair, but sometimes I don't, and then I put on perfume, and then I'm like good to go, and I feel soft and I smell good and I have a moisturized face.
There you go. Oh my gosh. And you mentioned perfume. That was one of the other topics you talked about. So tell me about like your favorite kinds of scents. Are you the kind of person who looks into the structure of scents, like bases or like top notes? So tell us about that. Yeah.
So I really like sweet stuff. Particularly I like vanilla and coconut. And those kinds of smells. I also really like pumpkin and anything that's sweet. I really like it. It depends on the time of year for me. So like during the fall, I like more spicy scents. And then during the spring, I like more floral scents. But I just really enjoy. There's a website that I use all the time. It's called Fragrantica.
Okay, I'm gonna look at it right now.
It's really, really cool. You can look up any perfume that you want, or like anyone that you have. If you have some favorites, you can type those in, and it'll recommend you like ones that you might like. And then you can look up any perfume, and it'll tell you the top notes, the mid notes, and the base notes. What the ciliage is, and like.
Tell us about all this jargon.
Okay, so let me get on here so I can sort of like I'll just put my favorite one in.
Okay.
Sugarful.
Oh, I'm excited.
Really good. So it's got the powdery smell of floral, caramel, citrus, woody, fruity, and sweet. And the top notes are wild strawberry and tangerine. The middle notes, so those are like what kind of float around in there is cotton candy and pink peony. And then the base notes, which is like what everything is built on, is musk and sandalwood.
I love sandalwood and vanilla.
Exactly, it's so good. And then there's like a longevity, so it tells you like how long it lasts on you. It sort of tells you how far it spreads, so like if it's an intimate perfume, if it's moderate, if it's strong, or if it's like enormous where like a lot of people can smell it. It tells you if it's like more of a female, more of like a male, like a unisex smell, and then it tells you the price too. And then there's a bunch of reviews, and I really, really love it.
What is an accord?
It's like I guess it's like how you would describe or like smell the perfume. It's just like when you first smell the perfume, how would you describe that smell?
I see. I like how it's like they also have like bars for whether it's more of a summer or a spring or a fall, or if it's like day or night. What do you think is the difference between a day scent and a night scent?
I think that day scents are more bright and fun, and night scents are more I guess I would say like mature and I don't really know how to describe it. It's a vibe.
Right, like
it's
chill,
a vibe, you know what I mean?
Kind of like Yeah,
but then it also depends on like whether or not you're going out to a really nice dinner or if you're going to, an arcade, or like if you're going to a party. I think it really depends, which is why I have so many.
Oh my gosh. So you mentioned how base notes are kind of like the foundation and how everything's built upon that. What is the I guess job or the function of the middle note and the top note?
So the middle note is like kind of, from my experience, and I don't know if it's the same for everyone else, but we'll take my favorite perfume, the Sugarful perfume, for example. When I spray that, I know that there's cotton candy in there. That's the middle note, but that's like what's floating around in the perfume. It's like you smell it and you're like that smells like it has, cotton candy in it.
The
I would
strongest?
say, like, you can smell that more than the base note.
I see.
I think so. I think the base note is like, it's like a canvas, right?
Oh.
When you have like a white canvas and then you paint over it, I would say
it like influences all the other notes. Almost, just a little bit. Wow. And then the top note?
And then the top notes are sprinkled on top. So it's like just a little sprinkle here and there. And it builds, it's like the final touches to a nice perfume.
Kind of like sprinkles. Maybe it's like the first thing you taste or smell, but then it kind of fades to the...
It's the gold leaf on top of the painting.
Wow, I love that. I'm always confused about like what's the difference between the three of them. And I noticed, in looking, it seems that some scents act as only a base note or act as only a mid. Is that right, or?
I would say, like, especially when you have body sprays or something like that, they're a lot less like fine-tuned. So most of it is just a base note, and then like maybe they add something else. My favorite body spray is the this Brazilian Bum Bum body oil, but it's the spray version. I forget what it's called. It's the Sol de Janeiro.
You know so
Brazilian
much
Crush.
Oh, Brazilian.
It's a weird hobby to have, but
no, it's cool.
That
I like
one's
it.
like, thank you.
A lot of people were like, "I bet Mako smells really nice." I would think so.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard that smell good. I remember when Shiki came to visit me. She got in my car and we talked for a while, and then we went to the grocery store, and she was like, I didn't want to tell you this in the car when we first met because I didn't want to be weird, but you smell really good.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, She was like, "You smell so good." Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And I will be sure to bring my best scent for when I visit you and we hang out at an arcade.
We can share. We can like compare.
Oh my
and
gosh,
bring
and
each
you
other.
can like
It'd be so
and you
fun.
can share and then I could like I could like sample a couple of like your favorite scents. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
how exciting. I'm curious though about, we know a little bit about middle and bass notes and top notes. How do you know what bass notes go with what middle notes? Like, is there a way to know which scents are gonna clash? Do you I just have to experience it?
Honestly, I'm subscribed to a perfume subscription service. And so I look at the perfumes that they have and the way that they describe them, and then I try them. So I don't really know like what goes well. Sometimes I'll just read it and I'm like, I feel like that would be good. And it's really hit or miss for me because I am picky. But like there's scents that I've gotten that I'm like, this is not for me at all. I don't like this. There was a time when they sent me to and I hated both of them and I never used them. So I feel like honestly it's just sometimes you swing and you miss and sometimes you swing and you hit. But most of the time I'll just sort of like read what's in them and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try this.
Yeah, or maybe you'll have to tell me later which subscription service you use, because I've been meaning to. I want to get more into, like, I'll have like one or two perfumes, but like I never think about like, oh, am I just gonna go out grocery shopping, or am I gonna go out for dinner with my friends? You know what I mean? I feel like I never really think about the occasion or like the season, because I do that mostly with candles. I have like 4 or 5 candles that I
love candles.
Right? And it's like I have my
I love candles so
I have
much.
my more like summery candle, I have my more witchery candle, but I would love to do that more with perfumes. So thank you for piquing my interest.
I think you'll find this interesting. But there's one perfume that I really, really like that I've like sworn by for years. It's called Glossier You.
I know Glossier.
So the title of the Glossier is the best, and their You perfume is like, it takes your skin, like it basically takes your skin into consideration. So whatever you smell like, it builds on top of that. And so it smells different on everybody. And it's so good. I've had like 3 people buy it because they smelled it on me and they're like, God, this is awesome. And then it smells like kind of different on them, and they still smell great.
Yeah.
It's like whatever's in it is really good. But it's really, really good.
Oh my god, okay, I'll have to try it then. It's, oh my god, it's $68.
Get the rollerball. This
okay,
little hat.
I was like, oh
the
my
rollerball
gosh.
has lasted me so long, and it's so much cheaper.
Okay. Oh yeah, much more affordable
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
Oh my god, like I'm nervous. Oh my gosh, but maybe I'll have to start, dabbling into scents a little bit with like
It's fun.
scent
It's just like
trial
it's fun to
box.
play with.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for sharing your interest and excitement for perfumes. I think it's definitely kind of like transferred over to me. I saw someone in the chat say, what sorts of scents do you think would fit someone like me? Like, and when you imagine me, what sort of like accords, is that the word? What sort of accords do you imagine?
You give me like huge vanilla-y, like sugary vibes.
I
Like
love vanilla
sugar.
as a scent, yeah.
That is the vibe that I get from you, because you're just a really warm person, and I think like your voice and your attitude and just who you are is just really warm, and so I would definitely go for like a warm vanilla sugary, like brown sugar.
Brown
smell.
sugar! I have a brown sugar candle. I have a brown sugar boba is the name of the candle.
Oh, you're like, yeah, definitely sugar and like maybe strawberry.
I love strawberries. That's perfect. I'll have to go find a strawberry.
Brown
scent.
sugar strawberry perfume.
Brown sugar, strawberry, vanilla. It's just gonna be super sweet and smell like a bakery or something.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Would that be more of like a day scent or like a night scent? Or would it be
That's
just...
definitely like a day scent, I think. It's really like light and sugary. Strawberry and Brown Sugar by Love, Beauty, and Planet.
Wait, what? Brown
Yeah, it's a body
sugar
spray, though.
and strawberry. By what?
It's called. It says Beloved and Love, Beauty, and Planet. I don't know.
Oh, I
It's
know
a body
about.
spray,
I know
though.
about Love, Beauty, and Planet. I've heard about that.
I must go crazy.
Like more
It's like
sustainable, like.
Yeah.
Brown strawberry. Wow, that's so specific. They knew. They knew
They
I
know.
wanted it.
They
Oh my gosh.
This
Love,
one-
Beauty, and Planet.
I'm sending you this too.
Okay,
'cause
please.
This one is It's from this really nice website called Dossier, which is like basically they take perfumes that are really expensive and make really high quality like dossier versions of them. So it's like a unlabeled kind of version.
Okay.
Inspired by like retail price like $150 perfume.
Oh.
And I'll send you this one because
Yes,
this one's $29. And it says that the top notes, it's a fruity brown sugar with raspberry pear cocktail. So it's a little bit different, but it's still like a brown sugar and vanilla smell, and it has a touch of patchouli in it too, which I don't know if you like patchouli. But
yeah, I like patchouli,
that looks
sure.
yummy.
I love this because for me, I feel like scent, like exploring scents has always been a little bit intimidating because I feel like when people think of like buying scents, they think of the really expensive like $68, $100 ones. But the way that you're describing it, I feel like there's always a way to find something that's affordable or like more accessible. And it's just nice having you like talk about it and like, you know, hear, I don't know, your recommendations and things like that.
My trick is Facebook Marketplace.
Oh, there you go.
That's my hack.
Oh my god.
I got a $450 perfume for $75
wow.
on Facebook Marketplace.
Okay, I guess I'll have to
highly
start
recommend.
looking at. Oh, so these are like dupes.
Yeah, they're basically they're just but they're really nice. Like this is a good brand.
Okay, what would be more of like a night scent for me? You think?
I would say you could definitely stick with vanilla as like a base.
Oh,
but maybe something like a little bit more
like
floral. I feel like floral scents are a little bit more mature. I'm not a huge fan of floral scents, but I think that it's possible to do them right.
Okay, like I'm thinking like sense. I'm going out to see a symphony. Well, then like imagine
have one.
Oh really?
This one it's really good. It's called Fearless.
Like my song.
Exactly, it's perfect for you. It's the Rachel Zoe Fearless, and it's really nice. It's still sweet, but it's like not like crazy sweet, if that makes sense.
Oh my gosh, this is so exciting! Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's good. I really like it. I have that one.
Okay, we can
vanilla
match.
And coconut and amber. Amber is like the mature person smell.
Wow.
So it's got a base of amber.
What is
really like
lactonic? Like milk?
I think it's like milk.
Lactose?
Yeah. Kind of, yeah. I think.
I'm intolerant. Yeah.
Oh
cream
no! Oh
no! Creamy? No, that's more of a digestive thing. I'm not gonna digest the perfume.
You're gonna eat it.
No.
Yummy.
Best creamy and milky fragrances. I see. Tuberose. What is tuberose? What is that even? Like a tuber? Like a potato? Oh.
Or a plant.
A plant.
It's a plant.
Oh, interesting.
Flower.
It's a flower. Oh, agave amica. Oh, so like a agave? Is that what it is?
This one, it says it smells like honeyed and candied nectar.
There you go. Okay, nectar. Yeah. That makes sense. Have you ever tried building your own scent?
I have not, but that sounds really fun. That would be really cool.
I think they have websites where you can do that.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
New stream idea.
No, actually though, chat builds my perfume. What if they put something What if they put something suspicious in there? I don't know, like Jolly Rancher smell or something. I don't know.
That would be so fun, actually.
Monster energy drink as a middle note.
Yummy.
You could have like a gamer perfume, and it's like it has a base note of Doritos, of the red Doritos, and a middle note of Mountain Dew.
Top note body odor.
Yeah, exactly. Just a little bit of how would you describe that in like perfume terms?
Disgusting.
Yeah, a little bit of disgusting at the top. Oh my gosh. There you go. Just do some marketing for that, and I think it'll sell out.
Yeah, I think so.
That's the next merch. That's your next merch.
Yeah, custom Dorito perfume.
Okay, but actually though, imagine having like perfume as like a merch thing. That'd be so cute.
So fun.
We should have
Oh,
go ahead.
No, you first.
I was thinking like imagine like we had some sort of like, because you know how like we'll have like people will do like seasonal merch and stuff like that. What if we had like a New Year's like ladies out on the town, like very fancy elegant gown, and then we kind of had like a merch line that's very I don't want to say luxe because I want it to be very affordable and accessible, but something.
But it feels luxe.
It feels luxe, luxe for
Yeah.
not luxe price. And so, and it had like perfume.
I always wanted to do like an eyeshadow palette merch too. Like that'd be so fun.
Wait, I love that. I would buy it.
Okay, so Rita and I are gonna be planning.
So we're gonna make like a lifestyle, like makeup merch line, is what I'm hearing. Yeah. And makeup is for
That'd be banger.
anybody. So even if you're not familiar with it, you could try it if you're interested.
Exactly. We'll make it taste good too, so you can.
You can eat it
if you don't want to wear it.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm so excited to dive more into this wonderful. I feel like less afraid of diving into the magical world of perfumes and scents. So thank you so much for guiding me, holding my hand, and introducing me into this lovely world. I hope.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, I'll let you know if I get one, and I'll let you know.
Yes,
what I think
please.
about it.
Please tell me. I want to know.
Oh my gosh. But now it's time to dive into the meat and potatoes of today's Archangel Radio. I guess, all of it, I guess, is the meat and potatoes, right? But it's more so kind of a heavy brain power topics. Now, one of the things that we've brought up a couple of times is that you were really excited to talk to me about psychology. You're someone who is really interested in psychology, and you were like, I'm so excited because Rita also likes looking into stuff like that. So let us know what interests you so much about psychology before we dive into my topics for the day.
I took a class on it, and I hated pretty much all sciences, and also like all pseudosciences, basically. And then I took a psychology class, and I was like, this is cool. Like, I think it's different than most sciences because you are connecting with basically like what makes people people, and not like the biology aspect, but like something that isn't there. You know what I mean? Like you can't always see it.
Right.
So it really intrigued me because I felt like I was able to understand the world around me in a different way.
Wow.
Like I was able to connect with people and understand how, like, why people act the way that they do, and like what could have happened in their childhood, or like what sort of traumatic events or something like that maybe like it helped me accept other kinds of people too.
Right. And that's why I'm really excited to have you here to talk about, psychology. I feel like for me personally, it's something I'm interested in. I read a lot of articles and I watch a lot of video essays, but you seem to have a lot more knowledge surrounding psychology. So I'm really interested to hear your thoughts on these topics I have today.
Yeah, I'm like, it's been a while since I've taken like actual psychology courses, but it is my major, and so like it's what I, am passionate about as far as studying goes.
So I'm really excited to hear what you have to say. Of course, we're not licensed professionals or anything. We're just discussing things. And so, we're just anime girls on the internet. So keep that...
True!
Keep that grain of salt there, right? Keep that thought in your head while we kind of just talk and discuss about various topics. But the first topic I wanted to talk about was... the reason why I brought this one up is because actually this week is National Mental Illness Awareness Week. It's the first week of October every year, and... I try to, at least for myself, I try to spend a little bit more time reading articles or learning about topics through video essays that I'm not really normally very familiar with. But something I've noticed, I feel like, especially on places like TikTok or Twitter, is this idea of romanticizing mental illness and having mental illness. We talked a little bit earlier about, sometimes you just gotta romanticize your life, but this is the more drastic kind of wanting to become, wanting it to be like your entire personality, right? Because I feel like kind of giving a little bit of a context to the conversation. There's a difference, I feel, between wanting to express your experiences and share your experiences. One of the topics I dove into, and if you have any other insight into the topic as well, I would love to hear about it. How certain communities create ways to express themselves and vent. I dove into like the Menheta subculture. I watched a couple of video essays about it. And how for them, a lot of people yell at them for, hey, you're romanticizing mental illness. But for the community, it's more so a way of bringing to the forefront topics that people tend to push down and not want to talk about. But you know, the central part of like the Minheta aesthetic being having like event art on like being like the main part of the clothing or the fashion, or the main point of it being very accessible, especially for people with chronic illness or chronic mental illness. But I want to know your thoughts on maybe taking it from something that is a way of self-expression to something a little bit more, I guess, damaging, like glorifying it, if that makes sense. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think like if we take it back to me in my early teen phase, there was like definitely a culture on Tumblr of that sort of like mental illness and like glorifying mental illness. And at the time, I obviously was not I guess like associated with psychology, and I wasn't very familiar with it. And I remember like I had a very nice childhood, very like it was, you know, nothing crazy. And I remember being like, whoa, like this is cool. And then I was like, wow, like these people are like it's so like beautiful to like be in touch with that like side of yourself. And then as I got older, I was like, what was I thinking? I was like, you know, I think some people really want, when you're younger, to be a part of a subculture and be a part of a crowd and to be deeper, like than to feel older than they actually are. And you know, I didn't know when I was 13, 14 years old that some of the people posting this were like adults that were like going through like serious stuff, you know, alcoholism, drug abuse, all that kind of stuff. And I just wanted to be like everybody else.
It's that sort of like mimetic desire to like what you said, to want to be part of a group, right? And you know, that's not to take away from if you are actually experiencing that. But I think in the conversation of romanticizing mental illness, I think that's definitely something that with the rise of like TikTok and social media, people kind of trivialize, I guess, because whenever you know, share your experiences online, a lot of the times, for some people, that's a way to, you know, cope and really feel seen and connect with other people who experience the same ways. And for some people, that can be very healing, right? That's part of their healing process.
Exactly.
But when you kind of just, it's almost a form of appropriation when you take this aesthetic and not consider, right, the struggles and the true, I guess, nature behind it, because mental illness isn't glamorous. It hurts. It ruins relationships. It ruins your life. Like it can really, I guess, take away from being able to do your day-to-day things, right? When people can, you can't see that all the time. And I think people take a lot of that, you know, just the stuff at the top and think, oh, that's like, I want to appropriate that almost.
I think like as I've gotten older and I actually started dealing with certain mental illnesses, like I saw a shift in the way that I viewed mental illness, and I saw it more as like, as, you know, people that are hurting, that I, you know, feel I empathize with, because maybe I've been through similar things, or like I can just, you know, empathize with the way that they feel. But it was no longer like mental illness cool lore, like, you know, like Equal said in chat, like I was like, this is lore. It became a very real thing that I was dealing with. And I think through content creation and TikTok and all of those things, you see a lot of people posting about their mental illness, some diagnosed, some not diagnosed. And I think that for me, at least, there's a line between posting about it as like a coping mechanism, like joking about it, and then like romanticizing it. And I think that some people don't really know the difference, and especially like younger people who might be in spaces where people are, you know, expressing their mental illness. I think for me, like I've joked about, I'm like, haha, like I'm so mentally ill or whatever, but like people need to know that they're like, that it is, you know, it is a coping mechanism,
Right,
but
right.
there are people out there who are saying that like really need help. You know, like I'm lucky that I'm being taken care of.
Absolutely.
But you know, I think that there's a line, and
Sure.
sometimes
When you brought up, no, this is great. I really appreciate that. You're so like wise. I feel like you're really good at portraying your thoughts. But something that you said that kind of resonated with me was when you were like, oh, sometimes like I say like things as a joke or as a way to cope, saying things like, oh, like, you know, haha, I'm so mentally, like that's something you've said as a way to cope, right? But then that's you know, been taken, you know, out of context, or maybe someone who doesn't fully understand like your experience, right? And that's, you know, you can't really blame that, but I feel like there's no way you can truly understand everything on the internet, right?
Exactly.
But it kind of reminded me of something that I used to say that I feel like it's the phrase itself is it's okay not to be okay, and I feel like there's been a sort of perversion to that phrase, to the point where I feel uncomfortable saying it, because the way that at least I've viewed that phrase is, you know, it's okay to talk about whenever you're sad, right? It's do not be ashamed for being sad sometimes, for being angry sometimes. You know, everyone has emotions and it's okay to feel. But what I found, people started using that phrase as, you know, like, I'm gonna keep sustaining this sort of negativity. And it's almost been perverted into this idea of like, you know, oh, maybe I shouldn't recover. Or maybe like this is like a lifestyle, this is an aesthetic now. And, you know, I feel like people forget that it's also okay to be okay.
Exactly. Yeah. I think like I've noticed. It's a weird thing that I've noticed, but I remember sitting in my car again, driving, and thinking, have I ever met somebody my age who is not self-proclaimed mentally ill? Like, why is there nobody in my life that is proud of being like neurotypical? That is like not like proud, but like has never said I am mentally ill. Like why have I not met basically a neurotypical person that's my age? And like you look at like older people and you see that they don't believe in mental health crises, and it's like obviously there's been a shift where mental illness is finally being accepted and talked about and treated,
right?
And but you know, I'm also like learning about like creating, I learned about this recently actually, is when you have a symptom and you start treating the symptom as its own like problem, as you start like is its own disability almost. And it's like, where is the line? Like, are people claiming that they're mentally ill because they're feeling, you know, sad, or they're feeling a certain way, and they're not getting validated, or they're not going to the doctor to check, like to get it checked out, or maybe it's totally treatable. But I think like there needs to be a discussion about the fact that it is totally okay to be mentally healthy, and to like and to finally take care of yourself to a point where you don't feel like you have, you know, to you know what I mean? Like, that you don't feel mentally ill anymore, that you don't feel like you're battling this. Yeah. And I think about that all the time. I'm like, are we all in a society, like, are we all mentally ill now? Like, is this what social media or what, like, just this generation is? Or is there a culture where we say that we're mentally ill, but, you know, maybe we're kind of taking ourselves a little too seriously here, and we need to, like, go to a therapist and get it fixed. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I think definitely you mentioned, like, with social media, we've definitely created more acceptance and destigmatizing of talking about mental health. And I think with that, alongside, you know, the rise of social media, I think definitely romanticism of mental health has come hand in hand with it becoming more acceptable to talk about. And I think it's, you know, destigmatizing is definitely important. But I feel like sensationalism trivializes and takes away a lot of focus from those who have chronic illness or who are living with mental illness. and we talked about how like romanticizing is bad, but I feel like small romanticisms is a really common way for people who live with mental illness to cope. It's a coping, right?
Yeah.
It's like if I just need to get through another day, like I'm gonna, put on a pretty dress and it's gonna be okay. Maybe
Yes,
it's my
ma'am.
filler episode, but when you start to almost appropriate it, it's for sure,
Yeah,
for sure.
I think
Mhm.
I just remember like telling my mom for the first time that I was dealing with copious amounts of anxiety, and me saying I have anxiety, and her being like, "Are you sure that you just aren't feeling anxious?" And like, I wasn't really sure what to do with that at the time, but I think there's some merit to that. It's like I should have waited, because I shouldn't put myself into a box of being mentally ill without really knowing like if I can get rid of this feeling
Sure.
or whatever. And like
Sure.
now we know that I have anxiety, but I think that there is some merit to, especially talking to younger people and saying like, okay, let's sit down. Like, are you sure that you have depression? Like, can we talk about these feelings first? Before
Right.
you go and start saying and telling everybody
Right.
that you're like mentally ill, like
right.
because you know what I mean.
Yeah,
And that's not to
for
say
sure.
that people. I know some people can't go to the doctors, and I think that undiagnosed mental illness is a huge problem.
Absolutely.
And I'm not, there's no
Sure.
no part of me thinks like, oh, that person is like self-diagnosing, like obviously they don't have this issue. But I think that it is sometimes important to think about the fact that we live in a society where everybody is talking about being mentally ill. It's like
Sure.
that doesn't mean it's always you. You know what I mean? You don't have to feel like you have to fit into that box
Right.
ever,
Right. Wow. You're so I'm glad we're having this conversation, and a lot of folks are making really good points in the chat as well. I'm glad this is a conversation. I feel like I'm learning a lot from
me
things that
too.
you're learning. Another reason why I talked a little bit about how this topic came up to in my head before the show started. I was talking to Mako behind the scenes, and it was because I watched this video. The thumbnail was the video game Needy Streamer Overload, or is that what it's called? And
Yeah.
it was titled The Rise of the Needy Girl. And like the intro, they were going through all the comments of that game, and it'd be people saying things like, neurodivergent people are hot, or like, I love a sad girl, I can fix her. And it kind of added to that concept of like, why are we romanticizing? Because that's not to say people who are neurodivergent, people of all kinds can be hot, but the fact that they were taking that like
As like the
that
top
part of their
point.
exactly, that because they are neurodivergent, they're like almost like fetishizing that, which I thought was really spooky. I don't know how else to say it, but what are your thoughts on that? I go ahead.
I think it's like, for me, when I hear that kind of stuff, I think it's kind of like about control.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Sort of like feeling like you have the upper hand in a situation or in a relationship.
Right.
I think a lot of people view mentally ill people as like malleable and like able to be shifted and changed into what you want them to be because they're broken. It's kind of like if you break a bone and you twist it a certain way, it'll heal in that position. And I think that people view mentally ill people that way, as if like they don't have their own like mental autonomy, and like they aren't able to have their own feelings or opinions or whatever. But I think that there's like a person under there who has their own feelings and opinions, and maybe they don't know anymore because they've been so broken. But I think the only person that can really fix someone who's mentally ill is someone who's licensed to fix them, because it's really dangerous. Like I said, if you break a bone and you try to heal it yourself, it's dangerous. It could heal in the wrong way. In the same way, if you're not a licensed professional and you try to heal a broken person, you never know. You know what I mean? That person
and I
might be broken for the rest of their life.
I feel like we have I feel like there's an unspoken, like, I don't know what it is, almost like an unspoken rule where it's like, oh, if you're not willing to like help your friend or like a loved one recover, that you're not like a good friend or either. But the thing is, you may not be the best person to do that, and that's okay. Like you don't have to be the person to, and that doesn't make you a bad friend. knowing that maybe you're not the best person to do that, and inviting someone else who maybe is more knowledgeable or capable of doing that, I think that's fine. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I think like there's only so much you can do as a friend.
Right.
I love being there for people.
Right, absolutely.
And I try to offer all the help that I can with all of the knowledge that I've gained through school and through life experiences. But there's only so much like your friends can do before it becomes, you know, like I don't want to say their burden because that's kind of insensitive, but like everybody is dealing with their own stuff.
Right.
And so I feel like, you know, you shouldn't have to depend on your friends for everything. It's good when they're there for you, but when they're not, you shouldn't feel angry about that or feel like, you know, you don't have a support system.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, you're responsible for yourself and yourself only.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people tend to burn out. Like a lot of people get caretaker fatigue from feeling like they have to be responsible for their loved ones' like well-being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So take care, you guys. I don't know. I feel like I've definitely experienced caretaker fatigue at some point, and I think a lot of people could relate to that. But you know, it's okay to, you know, want to. What's that one thing where it's like, you know how in airplanes, like you have to put your oxygen mask on first before you can help someone else, or you can't drive someone to the hospital if your car's broken. Like, you know what I mean? You gotta fix. You gotta take care of yourself too. Yeah, and you can try the best that you can, and if it's not always gonna work out the way that you would want it to, I guess. But thank you so much for your thoughts on this first topic. I know it's kind of heavy, and I really appreciate
fun.
The archangels as well. I think I've mentioned this to Mako before, but I always am very thankful that the archangels are always very open-minded and very respectful, and also willing to share their personal experiences on things as well. So thank you all so much. Is there anything else on this topic you wanted to talk about?
I mean, not really. I've seen like a lot of, I think there's been a lot of like in the past like guys saying that mentally ill girls are like hot and stuff, but like recently I've seen this rise of women fetishizing like the serial killer art, and I think that's like a completely like it's like a tangent. I think it's a tangent.
Go ahead. I love tangents.
I mean, it's just something to think about, like in a similar way with like, I mean, you've got like what American Psycho kind of vibes, and then there's like the serial killer, and I get it. Like, I mean, I think like Ghostface, he's you know, he's I you know, but it's like we have to think about like why that exists as well, and that it is like unhealthy, and I think that, you know, sort of like fetishizing like the crazy, unpredictable character is something like I think we should just look at as a society at some point.
I feel like it's similar.
I don't have the answers for it, but
I think it's very similar to the idea of like being the fixer, right? Like I can fix her or something. I think it's very similar in that it's almost that feeling of like, I am what sustains that other person wholly. Like I'm wanted so much so that they depend on me so much, or that they are willing to be crazy. And I feel like I read a couple of articles about, you know, how in addition to maybe like control being an aspect of why, you know, the fixer sort of mentality exists, it's also kind of like it's almost you have this sense of devaluing yourself, and that you're not willing to find the person who is right for you, but rather you're trying to find the easiest person to mold into your ideal partner.
I think like on the other side of the same coin, there is, and I don't know how to explain this, but I think there's like there's like the bad trope where it's like I can fix this person, but I've also seen it sort of where it's like somebody who's been broken, who feels like they aren't deserving of love, and has basically like broken themselves down into nothing, finally meets the person that like does actually fix them as a person, and like in a wholesome way, where it's like all these facets of this person like a puzzle piece merge with the other person, and they feel healed, and I think that's healthy.
Absolutely.
I think, but it has to come within. You know, it can't come from the other person.
Exactly, and it needs to be a very like almost it's you're building each other up, right? And you're not
Exactly,
depending
yeah.
on each other so much. Like there's not a sort of codependency, but rather you both are equals, and like maybe someone is there's a missing piece that someone else has for you, and that's something that you work on together. I just think there can't be that sort of codependency that a fixer and like sort of mentality, the fixer fixie mentality has. So
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. It just when you brought up the whole like psychopath lover, like or the murderer killer. Sorry, you used a different term. But like the serial killer is the word that you used. My bad. But I totally get what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so not a bad tangent, I think. Oh. Wow. Well, everyone take a moment to breathe. I know that's a very I love having very in-depth conversations with people. Like, of course,
too.
like there's beauty in just having a silly like repeating TikTok audios to each other for like an hour. Like there's fun in that, but I also find being able to connect with people and hear their thoughts and their opinions.
Me too.
On this sort of level. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that. You had so many wonderful things to offer, I guess, in terms of your thoughts on this first topic. And again, we're just two girls on the internet. Please practice media literacy. If this is a topic that you're interested in, please go find more literature on the subject. Maybe bring it up to a trusted professional. Who knows? And Alex John, thank you so much for the super chat. Yeah, I love being able to talk about maybe topics that aren't as talked about as much.
Easy.
But
the harder topics.
Yeah, the harder topics, exactly. I have one other topic for you today. You mentioned that interpersonal relationships is also a subset of psychology that you're interested in. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes, I love talking to other people and like learning about them.
Yeah, and so I was scratching my brain thinking about what topics are we going to talk about specifically within interpersonal relationships. But I thought, with October rolling around, we're in October and we're about to start heading into the fall season. There's this concept. I'm going to have to search it up because I'm actually not super familiar with this schedule. But if you're a social media person, if you are on the internet, you might have heard the term cuffing season. And it's this... Don't cry! No, I'm sorry. Actually, I know we talked about you can't watch love movies. But it's basically this season around the fall-winter time where you date someone with a casual sort of like, like just to see how it goes, to enjoy the cold winter months with, right? Maybe enjoy the holidays, go look at some holiday lights, enjoy some hot cocoa. But
it's
around
a very romantic season.
Exactly. But around this time of year, people are always shuffling to find a romantic partner to enjoy the holiday season with. But I kind of wanted to talk about this because I feel like nowadays people place so much importance on a romantic relationship, and that it's such a like it's a key thing, like it's part of the American dream, right? Like you find a partner, you settle down. I don't know, but I wanted to get your thoughts on why we place so much value on romance and the importance of having a variety of relationships. Why is everyone saying? Have you heard of cuffing season before? I feel like it's an older term.
I can't believe people haven't.
Yeah,
heard of it,
I think it's
actually
a little bit, like maybe like a couple years old now, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now you know.
I think when it comes to like cuffing season, it's like there's like a very... I think it's the feeling of wanting to be like validated and like warm with one person and being intimate with one person, because as the like months get colder and it gets darker, I think like people want something warm and want to feel less lonely. And like I just know this from like being I've been a teenager like in high school and stuff, and as like the winters gotten colder, I've been like lonely and so I get it, but like at the same time I think that it is more important, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, guys, but I think it's more important to surround yourself with a community in times of loneliness and the cold and winter. I think that I've never felt more loved and cherished and like intimate with myself and with others than like being with my family for the holidays, and like being with familiar people. I think there's absolutely nothing wrong
Mm-mm-mm.
with wanting to find a partner for cuffing season. You know, I don't think there's anything wrong with cuffing season.
Because cuffing
but I
season
do
could turn into like years and years of like a loving
Exactly.
relationship. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. But it's like, I think that for me, when I think of cuffing season, I actually mostly think of my family and like being with them and going home for the holidays and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Like that stuff is, for me, I was very lucky to be born in a family that is loving and very
Sure.
family oriented. Like,
Yeah.
not everybody has that privilege, and so, you know, I'm not going to speak for everybody, but at least that's my take on it.
Yeah, someone in chat mentioned that society kind of puts on a pedestal being in a relationship, that you need someone to be complete. And I think you really have to, because everyone's different, right? Everyone's needs for various types of relationship is different. But you have to understand, like, look into why you personally want a romantic relationship. Is it because you don't want to be seen being single during cuffing season when everyone else is having, you know, a partner? Or is it because you really do want to get to know someone on a certain level, you know, in a more intimate way, right?
I think, like, the other thing is that a lot of people, when these months come around, like, and they do start feeling like lonely or whatever, a lot of people in today's society, like you said, are looking, like they think that they have to have another person to be complete. But I think the most important thing in the world ever, like if you want to focus on one thing ever, you should focus on this, and that is knowing who you are first.
Absolutely.
And like being sure, or not, you don't have to be sure, but you should constantly always be working on yourself,
Right.
and like learning new things about yourself, and you will never find that from being with someone else.
Right.
If you don't know who you are, you're gonna adopt all of their personality traits, all of their like interests and stuff, and who knows, maybe it won't work out, and then what? Like you don't have a personality.
Right.
I think the most important thing is like spending time with yourself and getting to know yourself. And being intimate with yourself first.
Right.
Cuff yourself, guys.
Yeah, this
For cuffing
cuffing season,
cuff yourself.
That's so important. I feel like we forget how important self-love and also like platonic love is. And I don't know why. Like, why do you think society places such an importance on romantic love?
I think that's just how it's always been in every single piece of literature, media. It's just like you said, you find someone, you settle down with them. But I think, you know, there's not, for especially in America, for a country that's so like, that places so much importance on independence.
Right. Right.
There's a lot of like turnaround and like backlash to being independent. I think, you know, a lot of people are saying like, you need to settle down. You need to have somebody, a partner that you can lean back on. And it's like why can't you lean back on yourself?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
You're so right.
Yeah.
And again, it goes back to Advin in the chat saying like we've come up with this idea that you need to complete yourself with someone else.
Exactly.
When
And I
that's
don't
not
think
the
that's
case.
true. I
Yeah.
think like, oh, sorry. I think you do need to complete yourself. You shouldn't have, you know, somebody else complete you.
You shouldn't have to rely on someone else to feel whole. There is so much power in loving yourself. I agree. And I feel like people don't understand that. It almost feels like, I feel like people think it's lame, but it's not. There's so much power in loving yourself. But I want your thoughts. We talked a little about the importance of a variety of relationships, right? Friends, family, you know, coworkers, things like that. But what are your thoughts on the fact that cuffing season exists? So the fact that they have this whole thing. I looked into it, right? Because I know generally what cuffing season is, but apparently September is like drafting and October is like tryouts.
What?
Yeah, I searched it up today. Yeah, it was crazy. So so September is drafting, October is tryouts, and then like the holidays, like November, December, January is like it's kind of like your trial period for figuring out if you are gonna move on because it was more of a casual thing or if it's gonna be more of an exclusive, like, committed thing. What are your thoughts that we've kind of gamified romance in this way? What are your thoughts on that?
That's weird because in my mind, it's like okay, if September is tryout or is drafting,
yeah,
and October is tryouts. Then what happens during the holidays when you barely know this person
That's
and you're bringing them home to your family?
Yeah.
It's like, what is that? Like, what? To me, that's weird. Like, I think you
Yeah.
should never go into any relationship, whether it's platonic, romantic, whatever, with like,
Mhm.
with like the mentality that it's like a game. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like, I
absolutely.
just don't like that.
I
I don't know. That's just me.
No, I think we've again, it's just all this whole like gamification of romance because it makes people feel like they have to be on a schedule, right?
Mhm.
Like I feel like people are like, oh, I have to wait 3 months before like a first kiss or something, or like I have to wait 5
No.
months. I don't know. I'm just making random numbers.
Yeah.
But you know,
Yeah.
like, oh, you haven't like kissed yet. Oh, that means this or that means that. You know what I mean? Or like, oh, you haven't met the family yet. Or you know, like putting things on a timeline.
That stresses me out.
Exactly. Like I don't know why there's such an obsession with putting things on a timeline or gamifying romance. Why do you think we do that though?
I think we just want to be like our peers. And like that makes me stressed because it's like
Absolutely.
I don't think you should ever have to rush anything. Like if you
Right.
don't want to. I think every single person in the world is so individually different.
Right.
Nobody is the same. And to have expectation for every single type of relationship
Mhm.
and for how certain things should be, you know, I just like I don't think it's fair.
Mhm.
How am I trying to I'm trying to word this correctly. I think it's
Mm.
really selfish to place labels on other people's relationships and sort of
Right. Yeah.
judge them for that. I
Right.
think the most important thing is like making sure that you feel comfortable and that's like straight down to like the whole idea of cuffing. Like
Mm-mm.
if you're uncomfortable being single, you know, I get it. Like sometimes it sucks, but it's really like up to your comfort level and you shouldn't like rely on other people's perceptions of relationships to like mold your own, you know what I mean?
Like relationships are such a personal thing. And I feel like if you're doing you're doing each and every one of your relationships a disservice if you're constantly comparing it to somebody else's relationship because it's between you and that person. Right. And
Yeah.
I get feeling scared, right? Romance can be scary or just relationships in general can be scary and wanting some like pointers or like, okay, you know, like am I doing this right? Like that makes sense, right? But don't feel, you know, like you need to stick to a certain timeline.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh. Some level of FOMO, that's true. Like, you know, feeling like you're
Yeah.
left behind. Gosh.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the most important thing about like is communicating with your partner or whoever like in a relationship, a friendship. Like, oh, like maybe you have a friend. It's like, oh, well, how come we haven't like gone on a, like a friend trip yet? Like, talk about it. I feel like that's like the best way to go about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
So, I don't know. I just thought it was really interesting because I was like, what sort of topics, you know, can we
Well, that's
talk
a good
about?
one.
But that's
That's
topical.
like a unique one.
Thank you. I was like, I hope my questions are interesting enough for Mako. Is there
Great.
anything else around this topic that you kind of want to share your thoughts on?
I think the biggest thing about interpersonal relation is taking care of yourself first. And, you know, if you have good relationships with friends, family, or whatever, you should, you know, lean into those and not feel like you have to force yourself to get into more and more relationships.
Right.
If you have a level of comfort that you're really happy with, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's important to nourish the relationships you have. And you shouldn't force yourself to look for things just because other people say so. If you know, like, live with your mom and you and your mom have an awesome relationship and you don't feel like, you know, you need to go out all the time because you're happy at home. Like, you know, it's not sad. Like, I'm just using myself for example. My mom is my best friend.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And some people would be like, that's lame. Like, that's really lame. But I like, oh my God, I'm going to start crying. I love my mom. So it's like, like some people find that really lame.
No, that's awesome.
I think it's cool that my mom is awesome. I have a best friend in her. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
And just kind of applying it to every facet of life, right? Not just like your various relationships, but like in work, school, things like that. You're on your own schedule. Don't feel like you're on a specific timeline, that you have to get something done, or that you have to be like in a romantic relationship to begin with. I think we talked about like,
exactly, yeah.
you know, people putting an emphasis on like finding your other half or whatever. You know, maybe you're fine with just hanging out with your friends and things like that. So
yeah, I don't believe in other halves. Like, I just think that there's two full people.
Yeah.
That have a connection.
Yeah.
I don't ever think that one person is half of a person just because, you know, you guys should remember that.
I agree. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and your wisdom. And I hope you all also had, you know, fun picking into the brain of the wonderful Mako Sameshima. We are gonna start wrapping up for the day. We're not done streaming just yet. We're gonna just chat a little bit longer, kind of wrap things up, maybe read some super chats. So if you want to stick around, you're more than welcome to. But thank you so much, Mako, for offering such wonderful insight into the world of Mako, and also these lovely topics that we talked about towards the end.
It was so much fun. Like, I just love talking with you. Like, this has honestly been really, really nice and like really fun. I think.
Me too.
Yeah, I was really, like I know I said I hadn't really had like a psychology class in a while, just because I'm busy with other classes.
Sure,
but
sure.
that's something like I really miss is the discussion.
Yes.
I love talking about things that maybe some people are uncomfortable talking about, because it's really important to bring those topics to light. And
right.
so,
like, even though, because I know
fun.
thinking about stuff like this can maybe make me a little sad, or maybe make me a little like confused, but I think it's important to talk about it. I don't know, I feel like picking your brain every once in a while it's a good brain exercise, I guess. And I feel like it really opens up my mindset. Like, I learned a lot from you. I learned a lot from the Archangels, and I don't know, I feel enriched with knowledge.
Same. I think, like you mentioned, it makes you sad or like uncomfortable, but I also are confused. But I think it's good to sit in those emotions, because while they might not be like comfortable emotions, it's important that you familiarize yourself with these and, you know, not push them away, because it's a part of being a human, and the part of like what makes you you. And those important like those emotions are really important to have. We developed them and evolved with them for a reason,
right?
And it's, you know, it's important to be familiar with all facets of yourself, even the sad one.
Absolutely. And I feel like people are afraid of their emotions because maybe they're not always like happy, right? Or maybe they're not always good, but you know, you feel your feelings as like an initial thing, but then you can do something about it, right? Maybe you can have a secondary thought like, oh, that wasn't so good, right? Like, or what can I do about that, right? So I think you shouldn't be afraid to, you know, point out your feelings, write them down, well, you don't have to physically write them down, but kind of understand like, why do I think that way? Why is that the first thing that popped up in my head? Like, how was I raised or socialized in a way that, because a lot of people, I don't know what your thoughts on this, but there's a saying where it's like, the first thought that you have in your head is a reflection of how, like, your surroundings and how you grew up or how you were socialized, and like thoughts that come after are more close to how you would think now. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's very fair and like a good way to think about things. I think like at the end of the day, sometimes you just need to like take a moment and get to know yourself and like introduce yourself to yourself, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Because we're always growing and changing. Like, when's the last time that you really took a minute to think about how far you've come since, I don't know, childhood?
Yeah.
And like gotten to like re-know yourself.
Right.
Since, you know, it could have been years.
Yeah.
To just sit there and be like, hi, nice to
meet you.
Like, I'm Mako. I like this, and this. And like, just to sit in your thoughts for a while. And, you know, that's why I like driving. And sometimes like I just lay in my bed and think about things and stare at the ceiling. And it's good to be introspective.
Absolutely.
Get to know yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah, sometimes you just gotta, you know what you like, know what makes you happy, know what makes you sad. That's okay.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I feel like even like from a few months ago or even like a year ago, I feel like I'm totally different.
Same.
Of course, like there's a lot of things that are the same, but wow, we are multifaceted people who change. That's crazy.
The more you know.
The more you know. Oh my gosh. Let me go ahead and get my super chat reader open as well while we chat. Super chat reading. Oh my gosh. John, thank you so much for celebrating your membership anniversary. Happy birthday, Rita. Thank you.
Happy birthday, Rita, by the way.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. And if you want to continue the birthday celebrations with me tomorrow, I have a reverse RKNGL radio interview where a chat will be asking questions. I have a bunch of questions submitted to me, and there may or may not be some special guests coming in to interview as well. But it'll be, and then I'll also open up the gifts from the Archangels tomorrow as well. So very excited. Oh my gosh. Let's go! And Red Birdie, thank you so much for the 5 gifted. Very much appreciated. And Alex John, thank you so much for the super chat. Alex says this has been a very interesting discussion. It is not talked about enough. Thank you both for going through this topic on mental health. Of course, of course. I feel so enriched. Like I feel like there's different ways that I like consume information, and like sometimes it's like I'll listen to like a TED Talk, or I'll listen to a video essay.
I love TED Talks.
Or right? Or I'll read an article, but there's something so like more interactive about having a conversation with someone, because it can really go any way that you want, and you also kind of can pick and pry in certain directions in certain ways. So I don't know. I always say if I can manage to get a conversation with someone and get their experiences and their thoughts, it's really exciting.
I love talking to people too, so I get it.
Yeah. And Annie, thank you so much for the dono. Thanks for the great interview. Course, a great look at some serious topics, plus some nice perfume tips. There you go. Oh my gosh. We need to do, oh my gosh, we should do this like regularly. Like, just talk about, you want to start a podcast?
Yeah, let's start a podcast.
We have one deep conversation and we're just like, let's start a podcast.
It would be awesome.
The P in PRISM Project is going to be psychology. But it's pronounced like an S.
Psychology project.
Psychology. Oh my gosh. If we had a podcast, what would it be themed like?
I think it would be maybe like one serious conversation, but at the beginning there's one lighthearted.
I like that. Kind of like how we did today.
Yeah. Where it's like something fun and then it leads into a more
Oh my gosh. Like we could talk about like we what if they were both related somehow? Like imagine we were talking about like perfume, right? Like the different scents, and then the second half was like, let's talk about the sustainability of like the perfume industry, right? Or something like that, or something more serious.
Real.
Oh
or like, you know, cuffing season and laughing about it and talking about it at first, and then like really going into like why we value romantic relationships over platonic relationships.
I feel like it would be something like unpacking, or like, you know, something where it's
unpacking is so
well,
cute.
that's a video game. But
well, yeah, but you know, that's still a good podcast.
Like unwrap it or something like that, where you kind of start off with a very like surface level thing, or like maybe we do some like iceberg thing, because you know the shark and like I don't know,
Angel shark unwrap.
Oh my gosh, angel shark. But that'd be kind of nice, kind of like start off at the tip of the iceberg, like something a little bit more lighthearted, and then really dive more into the intricacies of the topic. I think would be really cool.
That would be really sick.
That would be so sick. Oh
just
my gosh. Occupations as platonic love is so underrated these days. Well, can I just say I really appreciate my platonic love with Mako. I'm so glad that I have a friend that I'm so glad that we could have like my ENFP. This is my ENFP self coming out right here.
Me
but
too.
I really appreciate this connection, and I've had so much fun today.
Me too. I love connecting with people, you know, interpersonal relations.
Of course. Oh my gosh. But yes, we should definitely think about that. I will message you later.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Would it be like a talk show, or like something we record? Like,
it could be on Spotify.
Oh my gosh, could you imagine if we were roommates and we could just do like a carpool karaoke where we just like put a recorder on in the car and we just drive each other safely, of course, but
that'd be so fun.
That'd be so fun. Wait, no, that's the theme. We just have like a car overlay and it's like
just have fun.
That would be so
that'd be
fun.
cute. A car overlay would be adorable.
If we could do something like car related, but maybe like also like unpacking, like kind of like winding, like let's like wind down or something like that, where we
the fast-paced America versus relaxing and winding down.
Yeah, exactly. Or like
Yeah.
we take this journey from like the very beginning, the easier stuff, to like the, I don't know. We'll workshop it. But I
Yeah.
really like that. I
This
really
is
like that.
genius.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we'll continue that in our messages. Oh my gosh. Unpacking on the road. I like that.
That's cute.
Oh my gosh. But thank you so incredibly much for being part of Archangel Radio today. I had so much fun.
Thank you. I also had a blast. I feel so like lucky to be, in the
Same.
presence of some wonderful minds.
Oh, truly. And that includes you all. Thank you all so much for, putting trust and faith in not just us, but also the fellow archangels for being open-minded. And
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. But do you have anything else you want to say before we say goodbye to everyone for the day?
Yeah, guys, make sure that you one, take care of yourself.
Yes.
And maybe do a little bit of introspection tonight. Question some of your beliefs. It's very important
That's
to do
true.
so to grow.
Mhm.
And love yourself also, please. And then also go to Rita's birthday stream tomorrow. And make sure to give Rita lots of
Oh.
love always.
Thank you so much. And don't forget to subscribe to Mako and check out all of her, content, I guess. But thank you all again so much, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!
See you. Bye.
Thank you!
Bye. Bye. Let's go.
Let's go. Hi! Welcome to the secret ending. I bet you thought I forgot. No, we were just having a really nice conversation about the podcast.
And so she never forgets.
I never forget. Well, I'm sure I forget a couple of times, but not today. So thanks for hanging out, you guys. I have more birthday fun happening this weekend, and I'm also going to be streaming on TikTok for the first time. So, whoa,
Ooh.
crazy. But yeah, thanks for hanging out. We'll find someone to raid into, and we'll see you all next time. Bye!
Bye, everyone.
Mako, do you wanna welcome the raiders in as well?
Hi guys.
Well, we had a really great conversations today. Lots of really deep conversations today. So if you wanna tune into that, you can always check out the VOD. But oh my gosh. Well, let's go ahead and raid Nena then. Is she still alive? I think she's also having some birthday celebrations as well. So why don't we go ahead and celebrate with her? We have a lot of fun Tenchi birthdays going on. So go ahead and say hi. Happy birthday. Share the love. And you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye!
Bye everyone.